first of all, this is our, just for our listening audience who keep coming back for more, we want to thank you for the enduring the abuse and or maybe the boredom, but you keep coming back, so thank you for that. We got a notice, an email from Podbean, which is the company that started us, gave us a platform for our podcast, and they watch all of the analytics. They provide all of the analytics for how many people tune in and listen, and we've gone up 700% in the last couple of weeks. So even, they write a little note saying "nice going," like I needed a pep talk, but
we needed it.
But we did need a pep talk, and whenever I mention that we're doing a podcast, people get really excited, like, "Oh, send me the link! I want to hear about it."
And then we never hear from them again.
And then they actually avoid us when we see them because they don't know what to say.
But hey, we got the listen. So
yeah, we had a woman walk into the office today. And by the way, today is the day before election, so it's November 4th, 2024.
On Monday. We don't normally record on Mondays.
No.
It's the afternoon. It's not really a coffee break. It's like a post-lunch break.
Yeah, it's like late coffee.
Yeah, late coffee.
Do you have coffee during the day?
Only in the morning.
Me too.
Well,
only in the morning.
Sometimes.
At dinner, after dinner, would you have coffee? Would you rather?
I'd have a decaf.
After dinner, because it keeps you up.
Unless I want to, like, really be awake, I guess. Because if I have regular, that's just gonna.
But you're more.
All night.
It would keep you up then.
Yeah, totally.
Regular coffee, you'd be lying there going, "Gee, I can't sleep."
Yeah.
God. Okay, so no coffee.
Because you don't really, you don't
No, it's just in the morning. I get up at 6 o'clock, and with monotonous regularity, I'm up at 6 o'clock. I let the dog out, and I make myself coffee. I make Missy and me coffee, and 8 cups, which is a misnomer because it's really only 4 cups the way the carafe has it.
Right.
8 is really 4. So I'll have 1, maybe 1.5, and I know Missy will. She just pours it in a huge cup and then has another one. She can take.
It's such a comfort in the morning.
To have warmth, especially going into the winter.
Yeah, absolutely. This time of year too. But just in the morning, it's like, oh, here's this nice thing that's gonna.
Do you find, like people ask me, what do you drink? I drink scotch. I don't drink wine. So when you go out, we are going to get back, by the way, to a more organized discussion, but this is just a little warm up.
Yeah, we're just talking.
To get
That's
you
what we do here. We do have some questions ready.
That's right. We're going to jump into that. But normally when you and Ryan go out, do you find having a drink of wine calming, or is it just more like that's what people do when they go out? Do you like wine or do you like beer? Or scotch?
I like a little of either. I'm not the biggest drinker.
Anytime.
No, I'm not really the biggest drinker, but
so you've never been drunk.
I kind of prefer. I have.
Great comeback. Great. She can't lie. I have. I can't.
But
I don't know where to follow that. What would that look like? Just asleep or?
No, I'd probably be more fun on this podcast if we were drinking.
Missy always
coffee.
says that drinking will bring out one of 2 things in a person. They'll either end up being revealing their true personality, like funny or effervescent or positive, or drinking will bring out the worst, will become rude and loud.
Yeah,
And I have found myself after 2 margaritas, which is the go-to drink for me.
That's your drink. Well, you just said scotch. But
I love scotch during the week.
Like tied for first, or scotch comes before the
well, because I'm in a Mexican restaurant, it seems silly to order scotch, so I'll order it, and we go to a lot of Mexican restaurants.
Frozen margarita, right?
Only frozen. No one else wants that. Everyone wants a shaken one, and I would never get salt because I don't drink it from a glass. I drink it through a straw, so I don't touch the rim. Why put the salt on? But I enjoy scotch more than anything because of the varied tastes of all these different blends. Well, they're single malt. There's no blends, but of all these years. So I am a Scotch person.
Okay.
There's no question. But you wouldn't normally.
My preference would probably be beer over wine.
And IPA or just like a regular Corona?
Yeah, I mean, I do a Corona. I'm not sometimes IPA, but I don't. It's not my favorite. I'd rather go for like an amber ale or sometimes like a darker stout too. I like too.
So would you have the Irish Guinness?
Yeah, I like Guinness.
That's almost like, it's not even like a beer, it's like a meal.
Yeah, I like Smithwick's, which is like a red ale, yeah.
It is good.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest drinker. I'm like, I'll have one and...
Yeah, and that's it. That's fine. Food is more of interest to you, to order different kinds of food.
Yes.
So you look at a menu and you get excited at what it...
Sure, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, drinks, it's like, that's all good and that's fine.
Yeah, but it's not...
But I want the food.
I could see you wanting a good meal. I think Elaine's will be a good experience for us as opposed to a normal steakhouse.
Yeah. We're putting together our office annual Christmas dinner. We're going to a nice spot that we've never been to before as a group.
No,
so.
I was excited to find it. I actually, when the group we were all talking about where we wanted to go, and this restaurant was brought up, I went to the restaurant and I watched, I was given a tour by the woman that owns the restaurant, and it was really a lovely place.
So what sold you on it? Like, what do you look for in a restaurant?
Lighting. Lighting is very important to me, and
I agree with that.
It sets the mood. If I'm in a bright restaurant, a lot of diners, like if you stop in a diner, they'll have bright lights, and it just doesn't. It's not conducive to eating. It's like you're under a microscope. But this was all. Same thing goes for outdoor lighting. In my house, I never want to see a bulb. I never want to see the actual light bulb. I'd rather see it encased in a kind of a smoky glass. The bulb is inside the fixture, but you don't see the bulb. You just see the glow of the glass that it's in. And none of my neighbors ascribe to that. They all have bulbs. So you drive down and they have glass, like a glass sconce, and inside is a very bright bulb, so you can see clear glass, not smoky glass, so you can see the bulb just burning, and I find it to be off-putting.
So that is a pet peeve of yours, being able to see light bulbs.
Yes, I don't want to see a light bulb. I want to just see light that is hidden behind some sort of a filtered glass. You don't see those bulbs in
this office. No.
You just see light.
You just see light.
And
you would hate my kitchen. I have
bulbs.
I have a big, just bulbs everywhere in my kitchen.
Real bulbs. You can see the bulbs.
In above our sink, I got this light fixture that's clear, and it's like a larger glass fixture, and it has one of those kind of vintage style bulbs in it.
Oh, well then,
so
then it's not a bulb.
It's still a bulb.
But the bulb is frosted.
No.
It's a real. You can see the filament.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh,
you can see
No. Well, for me, no. Like we have a really bright bulb. We have two hanging light fixtures over our island.
Okay, yeah.
And they are surrounded by smoky glass.
So you cannot see.
So you see the smoky glass aglow because the bulb is so bright, but you never see the bulb.
Wow.
And it just sort of softens.
Wow. I don't know if this is the light bulb episode or the pet peeves episode.
This could be pet peeves, especially we started talking, we didn't want to jump right into this because all of our listening audience would be like, what? What are they talking about? But I remember starting this by saying, I don't think I've ever really been happy.
This conversation, not the podcast.
No, it's about me being a defective person. I love the podcast. I love talking to Mary. I love wherever this takes us. But just generally, I remember my mother, who is dead and gone, and a lovely woman, German woman, never weighed more than 100 pounds. And I was born 10 pounds. I don't know how that happens in a human body. I don't get that. So, but never weighed more than 100 pounds, smoked 3 packs a day. And when I was going out with my girlfriend, who became my wife, my girlfriend at that time, I guess we were engaged, so my fiance would ask my mother, "What can you tell me about Jeff?" And she said, without blinking an eye, without hesitating, with a German accent, she said, "He is never happy. He is never satisfied. I don't understand it. It's quite troubling to me." And that resonated with my wife, and actually she had second thoughts.
She said, "Oh, wonderful."
She said, "Really?" And now I get it all the time. We've been married 54 years, and there's just something where I'm a creature of habit. I'm a prisoner of pattern. I see things in the house that shouldn't be a certain way, and I'll point it out, and she'll always remind me, "Well, just what your mother said, you're never happy." Mm-hmm. So it comes back to haunt me. But I have...
It's the light bulbs. Maybe it's the light bulbs.
I think it could be. Plus, I'm just generally anxious as I get older, and I'm getting older. Not even old, older. It's like old. You don't get older. You're sort of topping it out now, and I get nervous because I don't know if I did what I should have done in my life. I don't know if I created anything that will be lasting, and so I become a little melancholy. When you become melancholy, sad, and
wow.
it's very.
We're here to talk through this, Jeff.
Yeah, no, this isn't. Yeah, this isn't. What do they call that? You're sitting in a
But is it? I mean,
psychiatrist.
is there also a sense of maybe like freedom as you get older, because there's probably things that you cared more about or got more anxious about as a younger person than maybe you don't anymore as an older person. Do you feel that?
Well, I don't. You know, when you're old, you don't just have to worry so much about pleasing everyone, because actually nobody cares to be pleased because you're old. You become marginalized in society. People look past you. And I find that, I accept it, but I also find it very hard because my mind is, let's say, 25 years old. My body is 76 years old, and somewhere along the line I missed where I became knowledgeable that I wasn't really a force anymore. When you're young, you have a lot of energy and you can make things happen, and you attract people because you have an energy, the way you speak, the way you look at things, the way you want to do things, and it's almost it's an attracting force. It's what.
Well, I think it's surprising because you have a big personality and you were always a salesperson, right? And so you have that charm with people and everything. So I feel like it's not what I would expect to hear, that you're never truly happy.
Never.
Because it doesn't come off like that.
Because
I feel like you enjoy things like not seeing light bulbs so much, or like iced tea, or,
I love iced tea. I
your,
really do.
Your scotch, your great passions in life.
Iced tea is without sugar. There's no. This is what do they call that? Sugar. When I order
Unsweetened.
Unsweetened. Thank you. Unsweetened iced tea, and I become I don't want to get into this connoisseur, but nevertheless, that's what I like to drink.
No, but I just
lunch.
feel like you have a lot of things that you like, and you very strongly like them.
I do, and there are things I want to do, but I know I can't do, and there's things that are just restricted, and you go, okay, I'm gonna walk away from that because that would be so weird. So
So that was on your list of questions.
Yeah, I guess it was. What makes you truly? Are you
happy?
truly happy?
I am happy. Yeah.
Oh, good. Good for you.
He's like,
miserable person.
Yeah, I'll leave now.
Really? And your whole life, your your marriage, your children, your home life is primarily what it gives you the centering happiness.
Yeah, I think so, and good friends and
Yeah.
a good workplace, and I've been very lucky in a lot of ways, and I feel like in this time of my life, in my 30s, I feel maybe more of those freedoms of getting older and like not caring about certain things anymore, because it's like, oh, I have these things that I love, I have these things that I'm grateful for, so I don't really have to worry about
Yeah. There's nothing you have to prove.
little things.
You've gotten
Yeah.
and you've gotten what you wanted, right? There's no regret. That was another question. Do you have any regrets?
I feel like everybody has regrets.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I wouldn't change many things, obviously, because then you're changing
right,
the good outcomes.
right.
Like,
Yeah, there's no major
yeah, no.
major regrets. Well, how about this? I remember listening to who's the guy that he African American, a real force, makes a lot of movies. Perry.
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
And he's talking to a group of people, and I don't know whether it was a reel or something that made me listen to him. And he's telling people, look, you were born to fly, and certain friends along the way were born to fly with you, and they became great friends, but they couldn't they couldn't fly at the altitude you needed to fly to. So as you kept rising in your goals and life's decisions, they couldn't keep up with you and they fell away. And I said, isn't that interesting? Because I have that. I have friends that were so close to me, but they couldn't keep up with me and where I was taking myself. And
But do you think that's more just like a difference of personality? You think it's a difference in life choices, or?
Well, I had a guy that I was really close to. You'll find the not humor, but what is that coincidence in this? His last name was O'Connor, and
Twist.
what a twist! And he got me. He came into. I was always entrepreneurial from the beginning, and I mean it. Even when I was like 12, I was selling needle threaders for $1 a piece, and I sold 144 of them in like a day, and I made a lot of money. So this guy comes into my store. I had a wicker furniture store because I wanted to be the wicker czar of the world, and he comes into my store, and he was very handsome, Irish, funny, and he had tattoos because he had been in the Navy, and he was divorced. He had one son, Timmy, but that didn't last long. So he lived to have sex with every woman he could have sex with, and we would become friends because he bought wicker furniture from me, but he also wanted me to get into the advertising business at Cosmopolitan. And so I actually went. So
he worked there?
He worked at Cosmo.
Oh, okay.
So where you can't, I don't know what it is, Helen Gurley Brown, but every copy, I actually went to interview with Lou Porterfield, who was the publisher of Cosmo, and I went in there, and Lou said to me, I'll never forget this, what an idiot I was. He says, what do you want to earn? And I said, I want to earn my age. I was like 27. I want to make $27,000. I'm 27 years old. And he looked down at his desk like he was so disappointed. He said, you really want to make more than that? And I said, okay. And I felt I had already lost, and he said, well, here's a media kit. Why don't you look over the magazines and call me in a couple of days, and I'll offer you a starting job.
Yeah.
So I looked over the magazines, like 6 or 7 issues. Every one of those magazines, Cosmo was known for having more newsstand sales than subscription sales. Women would just go to the newsstand, and every month there was a different color. So there was purple and orange and green and blue and yellow, and women are very attuned to colors. They remember colors, so they would know whether they had that issue or not just by the color of what was on the newsstand. So he gave me these magazines. He told me that little formula. Mm-hmm. And every issue had at least 6 articles on how to bring your partner to climax. Here are the hot buttons on a woman's body. This never fails. Here's what you need to do to bring a woman to climax. And I'm such a conservative guy now. That was interesting, but I said to myself, I can't sell this. I can't go out in the marketplace and say you should be in Cosmo because this is really the spot. And I could no way say that to somebody. So I rejected the offer to start as an ad salesman because I found the magazine a little bit risque for me. And
Do you regret that?
Yes. Yes, I do. Because my friend Ed, who I stayed friends with, would tell me that he didn't have sex just for yes, he had sex just for the sex of it, but he said the fun of sex is to involve all 5 senses. He was very clear about that. So you got to have feels, or the sheets have to be satin sheets. And then the smell, you have to have perfume in the bedroom. And then sight and hearing and music. And he said, and then you really want to take a milk bath because you want to pour like 2 gallons of milk in hot water. And then when you get in the bath, you don't see anything because it's milky, but you feel this velvety feeling. And I was mesmerized by this. I was living vicariously through this guy who was a real, he was right.
But he was buying all this wicker furniture as well?
He bought a lot of wicker furniture, and I know, it's kind of odd. It looked good in his apartment. He lived in Garden City, he had some money. Okay. So I went to see him in his apartment. Mm-hmm. And but the whole point of this is that I was mesmerized by this guy who got me into the business because I went to work for Time Magazine. So Time Magazine is a magazine that I loved. I did very good there, 15 years, and it was in its heyday when Time was a real force in the world.
So it all worked out.
It did, but the point of the story is...
I don't even remember what our question
No, I'll tell you this. I'm going to wrap it up in 10 seconds. Point of the story is, after a certain amount of time, he became irrelevant. His lifestyle didn't dovetail with mine, and I no longer had an interest in his friendship. And we fell away from each other. He stopped calling me, I stopped calling him, and friendship needs to be maintained. It's like a garden. You have to water it. And so I didn't. I let it go.
Right.
And
Which happens.
So I don't know, do you have friends that fell away?
Yeah, sure. Because, we've moved a lot, so we've lived in a lot of different places, and sometimes...
Really? Oh, right. Oh, I'm thinking of Long Island. Oh, since you've been married, Ryan, you've gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we lived in the Midwest. So we lived in Philly. I was in Brooklyn for a little bit, and then we moved out here. But you make a lot of friendships wherever you are, wherever you're working, wherever you're meeting people. And I would say sometimes we've kept those ones, but there's sometimes you're just friends with people because you're in the same place at the same time, or like same point in your life. But then people move on, people move, people live their lives differently.
Is there anything that scares you?
So many things.
Well, not the boogeyman or, walking at night alone. I'm just thinking, are there...
Like a fear?
Like a fear of failing, or a fear of...
Oh, I thought you meant like spiders or something.
Well, I have that. You have that, right?
I don't love them.
No.
But...
Who does?
Who really?
Who can say, I love that spider?
People, I guess, who study and work with spiders love them.
But you...
That's not me.
No. Just killing one is a deal. It's emotional, because some of them jump and you don't know which way they're going to jump. And you smack them and they're over there.
I've gotten into spraying bugs with cleaning spray.
Yes.
And then you kill them.
Oh, it got some disoriented.
Yeah. You're not going to move now.
Now, would Brian do the killing, or would you kill it?
No, either of us.
You could kill it. Okay, both of you are killers.
Yeah, okay. Both of us are killers.
Right.
We're not gonna save the bug and put it outside. Maybe. but
No, Missy.
probably not.
No, Missy doesn't do it with a spider, but she'll do it with anything.
I mean, spiders are good. They get rid of the mosquitoes.
They
I
do.
hate mosquitoes, but
Yeah, mosquitoes.
spiders are
no good.
I am afraid of waves.
Did
in
you
the
say
ocean.
waves?
Yes. In the ocean.
So
I think, which was a weird thing because I love the beach, but waves are definitely unnerving to me.
So
because-
you've been knocked down by a few.
Yeah. I think when I was younger, like at some point, it clicked with me, like, oh, this could just pull me into
Just
the
pull
water.
me under the
Yeah,
water.
yeah.
And then, are you a good swimmer?
I am. I was trained as a lifeguard.
Okay. Okay.
And I do really want to learn how to surf to conquer my fear.
You got to go to that,
Yeah.
whatever that out there in Montauk, Ditch Plains or whatever it's
yeah,
called.
good. Yeah.
And that. So you don't have a surfboard.
No, but
Okay.
maybe
That-
one day.
That could be.
I mean, I don't want to invest in one because
No, they're not terrible, but that would be a good Christmas gift.
I guess. I mean, I've never done it, but I feel like I have to take a
Yeah, but if
class
you have-
first.
Oh, right. So you would
Lesson.
rent one.
yeah.
And
Let's start
then-
slow. Yeah.
And then it starts slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
Well,
a weird thing, right?
I would think, yeah, especially. Boy, I didn't know you were a lifeguard. I would.
I mean, I was I took lifeguard training in college and never ended up like going for a job. It was like a class you could take as
Yeah.
part of your athletic credits or whatever. And I
So
like swimming, so I
that would
took
be-
swimming and then did lifeguarding.
If I was drowning, that would be the funniest thing.
that would be the funniest
That would be
thing
the
if you were
funniest thing. At
drowning.
my size, and you try to, okay, just calm down. I'm going to pull you in.
I don't know if I'm as good as I once was. Maybe I'll have a surfboard you can grab.
Yeah, that's what they do. They have
Yeah.
jet ski and they just grab onto the jet
Yeah,
ski.
but other than that, I mean, I guess it's like fears anybody would have.
Any? Well, I wrote down here what was your happiest moment, but I can pretty much. There's so many happy moments. You have the birth of the kids, or your day you got married, and they're just happy times.
Yeah.
So that was a stupid question. So, well, you go to the beaches in the ocean, or do you like to go to calm water beaches? You know, like in the Sound.
I mean, either way.
There's no real waves in.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather go to an ocean beach,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I
I feel like we actually answered some of these questions that I have for you. Which talent would you most like to have?
like to play the piano.
Oh, you could do that.
You know,
What do you mean?
I
We
could.
could get a piano in the office.
And well, you saw Love Actually when the kid wants to be a drummer and Liam Neeson has his ears closed because the kid was so bad. But
We'll get you a keyboard.
you could do that. One of those Porsche keyboards.
And we have these headphones here that we don't actually use while we're recording our podcast, but they look nice, and you could use them.
The woman that came in spotted that. That woman today.
Oh yeah, sometimes we get people that randomly come into our office because we have a storefront, even though we don't need it.
Yeah, this woman was looking for a job, and she spotted the microphones here, and she said, "Are you doing podcasts?" And I said, "Yeah, we're professional podcasters." And she was so interested in that.
Is she gonna listen?
Well, she wanted to. I have to send her the email. She first has to send me the email of her work.
Oh, okay.
And
then you'll email her.
And then
about
I'll email her the
podcast.
podcast. Right now, I have to send everyone over at Northwell our link for a podcast. Are you an internet shopper? Like, instead of going to the store, will you just go onto Amazon and order what you need?
Depends what it is. I mean, online shopping is a lot easier, especially when there's no time. But
There's no time.
But it's just nice to go into little stores, like in a Main Street area, like where we work or something like that, and get something that's a little bit special.
But Zappos, the shoes, you would try them before you would go to a shoe store.
Yeah, because you can just really get anything.
And it's free returns. There's no problem if it doesn't fit.
Yeah, most places are,
Are.
Yeah. I feel like you'd rather go into a store.
Well,
Like at Christmas time.
I
gifts.
have become such a Jeff Bezos supporter.
I mean, we all are, right? We're all on
I
this.
cannot believe the speed with which I need a stamp for the back of the checks. I order a stamp, it's here the next day. I needed cafe lighting for the outside of the house because we had the party and everyone in my block has cafe, these big
How do you
bulbs.
feel about those light bulbs? Because they're just out there.
They're just out there. But it's part of what the block is doing, and it's just for the stupid party.
Oh, okay.
It's not generally, I got to live with it.
Right.
But I said to them, you know what, I'm going to buy the cafe lighting so next year I'm ready. So I put it up, because the lights are up, even though
Yeah.
they're not on, they're up.
Yeah.
And I put them up, and it actually is quite interesting. It's warm.
Wow.
You feel like you're
It
in
is.
like you're in a country.
See? So the light bulbs aren't all
No,
bad
that's
when
not
they're
all
out
bad.
there?
Not all bad. But I enjoy ordering online because it's just there. And you don't
It's
have
so
to
easy.
jump in a car and spend gas and try to find a shirt that's this color. There it is. And
When you think about that in comparison to how ordering things were when you were a kid or anything like that, does it seem very space agey? Like if you were telling your younger self about ordering stuff online.
I have to tell you, when I was growing up, I had the guy with milk bottles would come to the door. Honest to God, the guy that delivered milk with the white suit and the white hat, he would come to the door and put the 4 bottles of milk in an insulated box that would open up, and he put the bottles so that it would stay nice and cold, and he would drive away. And there was another kind of a service that was called Dugan's, Duggans. Dugan's would drive up, and they would give you donuts and rolls and they would just come to the door, and the guy would have like a basket, and you would say like this and like that.
So would they know that you were gonna order something, or they just went door to door?
They went door to door.
I want that.
And doctors would make home visits. When I was
Right.
growing up, there was no going to the doctor. It was you calling the doctor, and he would say, okay, I'll see you on the way. And he brought the little black bag, and he hit you on the knee, so your knee jumped up, your leg jumped out, and you go, yeah, you're pretty good. And those were the days that I saw, lived through. And where we are today, it is space agey.
But do you think then we're like missing something by not having those services anymore that are coming door to door? I mean, I guess we don't need it, but it sounds nice.
It is nice, and I'm sure in certain towns in America there's some form of home delivery
Right, yeah.
from a local store. The drugstore, Jones Drugstore in Northport, they deliver. So you just call them and say, hey, can you bring up my blood pressure medicine? And they go, sure. I used to work at a drugstore in Syosset, and that's where I learned how to drive a Volkswagen stick shift, because I delivered drugs. And I would have to read names that I didn't understand and run up to the door. There's a certain way of getting into your community when you are door to door and meeting people at that level.
Yeah.
Because now
I don't think we have that.
you don't have that. Everyone's in their home as
Just
separate.
Amazon delivery people coming.
And they know you, and I actually
And you know what
forward
you're getting.
and I know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Right. So there isn't any surprises.
Yeah.
I see, like your kids are. There's certain things they'll never know.
Right. I mean, they don't really know. I guess more so now, but like Toys R Us was a big thing when I was a kid. That doesn't exist anymore.
No.
So they don't really think of going to the toy store. I mean, there's little toy stores they'll go to and everything.
Show 'em a
Or they know
catalog?
like Target and all that. But yeah, their immediate first thing is, oh, did you get that online? Like, they know. Or they'll be like, show me something, and they know you can bring it up on your phone.
He'll know how to
Yeah.
get to where he wants quick.
Yeah. No, we have friends of his that have ordered things via Alexa that their parents didn't realize until it came to the door.
Wait till Mac
which is great.
learns how to do that. Do you have the Alexa app? You probably not.
We don't. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have it. But
yeah.
it would totally find a way to do it.
Is that because it's an intrusion on privacy, or is it because it's just too...
We just don't really use it.
Just a, hey, what's the weather like?
You can just check that on my phone.
You can't. You don't need it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I have
Oh.
8 of them in my house.
8?
8 of them. I have 8 Alexas in bathrooms because it also plays music.
Right.
So-
I mean, we have speakers, but that's
But
all we need it
but
for.
the music comes through the phone, right? And it's
Right,
hooked up through
yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So you have Apple Music, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Or even Amazon Music. And,
Yeah, there's all different ones, or
and,
Spotify.
you're a Spotify?
No, Ryan's Spotify. I use YouTube Music because that's through Google.
Yes, YouTube.
Yeah.
That's another. It's amazing. YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
Everything. It's
Yeah.
all there. You miss an episode of something, you go to YouTube, and it's
That's true.
you want to learn how to open a lock.
That is great.
So I don't know what more there is. I'm not happy. As I said, I'm just not happy.
That's the title of this episode. Jeff's not happy.
Yeah, not just never been happy or satisfied.
Never. Never.
Yeah, there's
No exaggeration
There's
there
a
at
couple
all.
of times where I'm going, wow, that was good. I'm happy, but
That is, well, my last question on here is,
oh,
what is your motto? Is that your motto? I'm not happy.
well, a motto is interesting. The first thing that comes to mind is that every saint has a past, every sinner has a future.
Oh.
And I think of people that are, pretty perfect, and I know that if you try to compare yourself to somebody and you say, I never could compare myself, if you look in the bag, you say every saint has a past.
Yeah, no one's perfect.
And then every person that's flawed, every sinner, has an ability, has a future to do better. So there's a motto
I like that. That's a good one.
to keep you going.
Yeah, keep things in perspective.
And
I like that.
and you got to be happy with the cards you're dealt.
That's right.
And I have to say, this company has a pretty strong hand, a deck of cards. And when I drive to work, I think about that, and I'm pretty happy.
Uh-huh.
So on that note,
We gotta end it now before he's not happy.
that's a wrap.